knife, Arbea will present this topic to you. So let's start. Our outline, we're going to define the photochemical smog, also types of pollutants, how is smog formed, photochemical smog effect, what are the dangers, and finally we have a few questions just to ensure your understanding. So let's start. Photochemical smog. So this word consists of two words actually. The first thing is photochemical. Okay? So photochemical indicates to the type of chemical reaction that occur in these processes, which is the photochemical reactions. And these reactions are initiated by a source, are initiated by the absorption of energy in a form of light. So to have this reaction, we need to have a light source like sunlight maybe. Now the second word, which is smoke. Okay? Smoke is simple. It's nothing but a mixture of smoke and fog. So we can make this formula. I can write smoke is equal to smoke, okay, plus fog. So the combination of fog and smoke will give smoke. Okay. So now, as I mentioned, the photochemical smoke formed by the photochemical reaction of automobile exhaust in the presence of sunlight. Also, it's a complex reaction involving nitrogen oxides, ozone, and hydrocarbons. Automobile exhaust consists mainly of nitrogen monoxide, carbon monoxide, and various unburned hydrocarbons. And for the pollution, how the pollution occurs exactly in these processes? The idea is simple. As I mentioned, we have a photochemical reaction, we have a light source. So this light, when it's falling on chemicals, on automobile exhaust, on factories, this process, this activity will produce a pollution. Okay? The volcanic eruption, forest fire, and industry are all sources of photochemical smog pollutants. Now, we have this interesting picture. It's called the Great Smog of London, occurred in 1952. So this, you can see that we have here a man wearing a mask. So I want to ask you a question. What do you think, for how many days or how many hours does the smoke was there in London before it disappears? Yes. Week. Okay.
Half a year?
Half a year? Okay, let's take a week as a reference. Who thinks that it's less than a week? Raise your hand. Okay. More than a week? Okay, a week? Okay. Actually, this smoke was there in London for 5 days, so you can imagine. It's approximately 120 hours. You imagine a huge city that there is a smoke present in it for maybe 120 hours. So this is extremely dangerous. Types of pollutants. We have two types of pollutants: primary pollutants and the secondary pollutants. The primary pollutants, for example, nitrogen oxides. And when I tell you nitrogen oxides, I mean this formula: NOx. X can be 1, can be 2, 3, etc. Okay? And the VOCs. VOCs, we're going to discuss them later, inshallah, but for a start, it's called the volcanic organic compounds. Okay. So, why we call them primary? The idea is simple. These compounds, they undergo a series of chemical reactions. Okay? So this series of chemical reaction will produce the secondary pollutant. Okay? Secondary pollutant mainly consists of ozone, O3, and the PAN, peroxyacid nitrate. The ozone here, the danger is that ozone formed at ground level, okay, not at upper atmosphere. So why it's dangerous? Naif will explain. I will leave this question for Naif to answer, inshallah, in the next slide. Okay. Now we have a picture. Right. Let's ask ourselves a question. How can I distinguish from a primary pollutant and a secondary pollutant? The primary pollutants, are directly emitted by certain activities. Okay, again, primary pollutants are directly emitted from some activities, such as they are emitted from cars, from factories, from volcanic eruptions. Okay, so these primary pollutants will react to produce the secondary pollutant. They will react to produce secondary pollutant. Let's take an example. We have the peroxyacid nitrate. So I'm going to write the equation. It's nitrogen dioxide plus O2 plus hydrocarbons plus light, because these are photochemical reactions. We need a light to initiate these reactions, will give me the peroxyacid nitrate. So as you can see, the secondary pollutants, they are not directly emitted. They are chemically formed, okay? And we have ozone. We're going to see the mechanism in the next video, inshallah. So any question at this point? Any question? Okay, so let's resume. Now the volatile organic compounds. Where do these compounds come from exactly? They come from air pollution, they come from plastics, paints and glue, gasoline, especially petroleum, fumigants, and also some other solvents. Some plants also produce. So this is a huge problem. Many sources produce these compounds. So we need to manage or control these sources to protect the environment in particular. Okay, now we have important point. Fuel is the main source of industrial smoke and burning coal. So fuel is the main source of industrial smoke, especially in burning coal. Okay, now we have a video that will show you the reaction, how the reactions of photochemical smoke occur exactly. Okay.
First, nitrogen and oxygen combine in a combustion process to form nitric oxide. Then, this nitric oxide oxidized in the atmosphere to produce nitrogen dioxide.
Okay. زود.
Next, sunlight breaks down nitrogen dioxide into nitric oxide and an oxygen radical. The oxygen radical combines with molecular oxygen to form ozone. Ozone is the main component of photochemical smog. Nitric oxide can remove ozone by reacting with it to form nitrogen dioxide and oxygen.
Okay, so this is simply the reaction of photochemical smoke. Anybody have a question on this? Okay. So now I'll leave the ground for Naif to resume.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Naif Rabaya, and I will continue what my friend Dasir started. So I will talk about the dangers, effects, impacts of photochemical smoke, its effect on plants and human health. So let's first describe the impacts on plants. Chemicals such as nitrogen oxide, ozone, and peroxyacetyl nitrate, they have a harmful effect on plants. And the effect is to reduce their growth rate or stop it actually. So as now, ozone, even small quantities can reach this effect. But PN, which is peroxyacetyl nitrate, is even more toxic in plants than ozone. So let's move now to what's effects on health, and we will see this effect. It's harmful actually, and we will see it in the next table, inshallah. So we will move now to the first pollutant, which is nitrogen oxide, and this effect can contribute to problems with heart and lungs, and links to decrease resistance to infection that make your cells weak, and can actually make you sick easier. And the second one is volatile organic compounds, VOCs. The first one is eye irritation, that you feel your eyes very hot. And second one is respiratory problems, is particularly for conditions that have people that have asthma, or and the third one is some compounds are carcinogens that leads to cancer easier. And these two pollutants, as my colleague Asif says, it's primarily pollutant. Let's move now to the third pollutant, which is ozone, and can affect his coughing and wheezing. What's wheezing? Wheezing is a sound come from your mouth when you're breathing. Sounds like whistles when you're breathing. And the second one is eye irritation. We described it before, and respiratory problems as before. And the fourth one, which is the last, peroxyacetyl nitrate, and its effect is eye irritation and respiratory problems as we described it before. So now we will move to two easy questions, actually in Socratic, we will Socratic now. And the roll number is